Creating engaging and effective learning activities is at the heart of teaching. Thoughtful planning ensures that activities not only capture children's interest, but also support their development and learning. This module focuses on the process of designing learning activities that are tailored to the needs and abilities of children. By organizing resources, considering the available space, and preparing tasks thoughtfully, you can create lessons that are both fun and impactful. Through simple steps and practical tips, this module aims to help you approach activity creation with confidence, ensuring every child can participate, learn, and thrive. This version provides a general overview, emphasizing the importance of planning and preparation without diving into specific goals. In this learning unit, we will discuss how to plan and prepare for your PE lessons. First, we talk about how to choose the activity based on your goal. Think about what you want the children to learn or practice, and pick an activity that supports that goal. Next, we'll discuss how to decide what the children will do during the activity. Plan their movements and tasks to match their abilities while encouraging growth and participation. Then we will talk about how to plan your space, time, and materials. Organize the space to allow safe and free movement, decide on the time needed for each part of the lesson, and prepare any equipment in advance to keep things running smoothly. Finally, this unit will help you prepare for the execution. Think through each step of your lesson, from the introduction to the closing. Be ready to guide, explain, and adjust as needed to create a positive and engaging experience for the children. Following these steps will help you feel confident and prepared for your PE lesson. This video is designed to give you a full overview of how to prepare a lesson. Please note, there are no pauses in the video itself. If you'd like to prepare your lesson while watching, feel free to pause the video at any time. Take your time and work at your own pace. Planning a lesson that ticks all the boxes can feel challenging. How do you create something that's super efficient, keeps the kids moving at a high intensity, and perfectly aligns with your learning goals? The aim doesn't have to be perfection. Instead, focus on 3 key things. A safe lesson where everyone feels comfortable and secure, maximizing movement to keep kids active and engaged. And finally, ensuring there are meaningful learning results even in small steps. As long as you keep your goal clear in mind, there is no very wrong in choosing the activities, as long as they are in line with your goals. In the previous learning unit, we introduced a simple 5-step process to guide you in creating effective PE lessons. We already explored Step 1, Initial Assessment, and Step 2, Goal Setting in that module. Now in this module, we'll focus on Step 3, Choosing Learning Activities, a critical step in connecting your goals to engaging and impactful lessons. Remember, every lesson should follow this process. Even if you don't prepare a lesson on paper, always start by thinking about Steps 1 and 2 before selecting your activities. This ensures your lessons are purposeful and tailored to the needs of your group. The upcoming module will cover Step 4, Executing Lessons, and Step 5, Evaluating Lessons, completing the process to ensure your PE lessons are both fun and effective. When selecting an activity, always start by focusing on the goal. For example, if you want to improve their throwing, they need to throw a lot. If you want to improve their balancing, they need to balance a lot. And if you want to improve their social skills, they need to work together frequently. The first question to ask yourself is, if I want to improve their ability in X, how can I create an environment where they do that frequently? This question helps you establish a clear development principle. Everything you include in the lesson should directly support this goal. Next, ask yourself, if I want to improve ability X and have them do it a lot, how can I ensure it's challenging enough for them? Think about how to make the activity appropriate for their skill level. For example, if the goal is throwing, consider, how far away should the targets be? How big should they be? Should they be stationary or moving? If the goal is balancing, ask, how narrow should the runway be? Should it be stable or slightly wobbly? If the goal is teamwork, consider, what kind of activity requires them to cooperate but still allows individual contributions? By reflecting on these questions, you'll create activities that are not only engaging but also targeted and effective. This ensures that children are practicing in ways that help them grow while keeping the lesson fun and challenging. When planning your activities, you'll often encounter practical constraints. You won't always have endless materials to create the perfect situation. However, it's essential to start with what you want to create, not what you can create. Focusing on limitations too early will make it harder to imagine the best possible learning environment. So the third question to ask yourself is, if I want to improve ability X, and I want them to do X a lot at the right level, how can I achieve that with the resources I have? For example, if you don't have balls for throwing, think creatively. Maybe you have blocks, toys, or even the children's socks or shoes. If you're working on balancing and don't have a perfect climbing setup, you can use chairs, tape lines on the floor, or other available resources. The key is to always find a way to create a meaningful learning experience, no matter the limitations. Finally, don't let practical constraints like routing or safety dominate your initial thinking. Start by imagining what's possible, then adjust as needed to make it work. This way, you keep the focus on creating the best learning environment for the children. Now it's time to build your lesson to reach your goals. Start by thinking about how to set up the room or activity. Where should the children run? Where will they start? Where will they wait? If you're just starting out, don't focus too much on efficiency. As you gain experience, you'll learn how to minimize waiting time and trust the children. They often find their own solutions. When building your lesson, keep these questions in mind. How can I use the room to give the children as many opportunities as possible to practice the skill? How many children can do this at the same time? If there are too many, should others practice a different skill or do another activity to stay engaged? What safety measures are needed? For example, you might set rules like, only one child at a time, or wait until the person in front has passed the line. Also, think about whether safety equipment is necessary. Safety is always important, and we'll explore it more in depth in a later module. After you've created your lesson, defined the goals, designed the activities, and decided on the number of zones, it's time to focus on the final piece, ensuring that children are learning. Here are some key aspects to think about. Verbal tips. What instructions or feedback will you provide? Physical support. Will you offer help with movements, like guiding their arms or steadying them? Learning aids. Will you use tools like a stick for balancing or cones for targets? Differentiation. How will you adapt the activity? Will you have multiple tasks or adjusted challenges for different children? This can feel overwhelming at first. As a teacher, balancing safety and efficiency is already a big task. But try to challenge yourself to include at least one way to make each activity truly supportive of learning. Small changes can make a big difference in helping children grow. Let's recap the key steps to creating effective PE lessons. First, start with the goal. Identify what you want children to learn, whether it's improving a skill like throwing or balancing, or developing teamwork. Next, choose the right activities. Make sure children can practice the skill often and that the activity is appropriately challenging. Then, work within constraints. Begin by imagining the best learning environment and then adapt based on what's available. Be creative with materials, like using socks for throwing or tape for balancing. After that, set up the space. Organize zones for activities. Think about movement routes and ensure children know where to start and wait. Safety is important, but trust children to find their own solutions. Finally, support learning. Provide verbal instructions, offer physical guidance, and use aids like sticks or cones. Adjust activities to meet different skill levels so every child can grow. Remember, the goal is to create a safe and engaging environment where children can learn, explore, and enjoy the process. We've provided you with a format to guide you through these steps. Start with the goal and work through the questions on this page and the fields in the format. You can use this format for each separate part of your lesson, or try preparing the entire lesson on one sheet. However, feel free to use any format that works best for you. Choose what serves you and your planning style.